Welcome back to another episode of Lone Star College Football. Today we're going to be giving y'all our Big 12 season predictions. We have sat down, we have done the tedious work of looking through game by game for all 10 teams. We've put them in our order, and then we have a couple notes on how we think things may or may not shake up towards the top of the list. This is going to be a two-part series. We're going to drop number 10 through 6. And then we'll drop 5 through number 1 a little bit later, probably in the same day. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into number 10. I don't think this is going to shock to anyone. At number 10, I have Kansas. Their schedule out of conference is actually kind of difficult because they have Houston as a non-con game. They have West Virginia week 2, which is kind of weird. Usually it's always non-con, and then your non-conference games. But we're just going to get in real quick. Week 1, Tennessee Tech. I've got that one marked out as a dub. Then they play West Virginia, loss, Duke, Iowa State, TCU, OU, Baylor, Oklahoma State, Tech, UT, K-State. I've got those all as a loss. So I put that as my final prediction. I think they are most likely 1-11 with a possible 10-2 with a win against Texas. That's a joke. Okay, calm down. That's a joke. But I did put maybe they could squeak one out against a West Virginia or a Tech. Last season, they did beat Texas. They came really close to beating TCU. They came really close to beating Oklahoma. So I personally think they'll end up 1-11. But if they could get lucky one time, it'd probably be against a team like West Virginia or Texas Tech.
Yeah, I also have Kansas at number 10. I marked up Tennessee Tech as a W, West Virginia an L, at Houston L, and I actually put Duke as a possible W, just for the fact that it's at home. That's it. Everybody else L, all of them. I mean, I think maybe versus TCU because it's a home game versus Iowa State. That's another home game. Those are some of the possible ones that they could pull out. Texas is a home game this year. Never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
No,
it's true.
But I see them going 1-9, 2-10. I mean, if they can squeeze out TCU and Iowa State, hey, that's that might not put them at the bottom of the Big 12. But yeah, I see them more than likely 1-9, 2-10. I mean, 2-10. But going up to number 9 for me is Texas Tech. Ooh. Man, they also have Houston in non-con, and then they have NC State and Murray. I didn't even know Murray had a football team.
Yeah.
So I've marked them as a W for week 1. Versus Houston is another L. I think Houston's still going to be a pretty good team. NC State, another L. And then Texas at Kansas State, at Oklahoma State, versus West Virginia, versus Baylor, versus TCU, and versus Kansas. Or no, Kansas is a dub. All those other schools I just listed, L's. And then Iowa State, OU, L's. I don't I don't see it going in their coach's second year. His name just slipped my mind. Was it Grimes?
Joey McGuire.
Oh yeah, Grimes is our offensive coordinator now. But yeah, I don't see it in Joey McGuire's second year. I mean, I think their defense might have some players that could be sneaky good, but they won't. They'll only look good because they're on Tech. It's just another Tech year. I'm seeing 2-10, maybe 3-9, and I'm seeing 1-8 in conference.
Wow. Yeah, I've got a little bit different. So I also have a dub at Murray State. For Houston, NC State, UT, K-State, and Oklahoma State, I have lost. I think they'll lose those games. I can see them beating a team like West Virginia. I don't have big plans for West Virginia this season.
That was one of those toss-up games for me as well, just because it is home. If it was in Morgantown, I think that's an automatic L, just because Morgantown's a hard place to play in.
Yeah, and people say Lubbock is also. I mean, people throwing tortillas at you can
That would
psychological
scare the
warfare.
living crap out of me.
I have them as a loss against Bama and TCU, a dub against Kansas, and then back-to-back losses to end the season against Iowa State and Oklahoma. I put the final prediction at a likely 3-9, a possible 4-8. I think that a team like TCU, I could see Tech and TCU go into a close game if Tech could find a way to pull it out. I don't think they will, but if they could, maybe a 4-8.
I just want to point out that you did call Baylor Bama, and I
Oh,
appreciate it. I
no.
appreciate it.
It's late. It's 11:30. I need to go to bed. This is
No, I know it. We
I'm
both got work.
clearly something's wrong going on.
Oh,
So
it's
I'll
all
lead
good.
us into the team that we would have. So this would we're going top or bottom to top. So this would technically be our number 8 team.
Hmm.
Uh, in my book is West Virginia. I've got West Virginia at 8. They're looking at to start the season off against Pitt. I think that's a loss. I think Pitt just announced that Keaton Slovis is going to be their starting quarterback. He is the other USC transfer. So for those of you who don't know, Caleb Williams transferred from Oklahoma to USC. Keaton Slovis transferred to Pitt, and Jackson Dart transferred to um,
Ole Miss
what was that other team? Ole Miss. Yes, glad you remember that.
with
So
Zach Evans.
with that, see, good, you do listen. So I don't think Pitt will be great. I don't think they'll be as good as they were last season, but I think they'll be able to beat West Virginia. I have West Virginia beating Kansas and Towson, who I've never heard of. So if they lose to Towson, I don't even know. I have them losing to, well, I'll just start writing off some teams. Virginia Tech, UT, Baylor, Tech, TCU, Iowa State, Oklahoma, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State are all losses. I don't think they're going to win any of those. So that puts my final prediction for them at 2-10, uh, which I'm now realizing puts them actually reverse with Texas Tech on my list. I changed it at the top. I didn't change it here. I wasn't expecting to go this way. So that puts them at a 2-10. Now I will say I do have a side note saying a possible 3-9, 4-8 if they could pull up a win against either Iowa State or Texas Tech, which because I think Tech will beat West Virginia, but if Tech could beat TCU, then they could get to 4-8. But if West Virginia could beat Tech, then they could be 4-8 or 3-9. So really, I think those two teams are pretty close. I think you could swap them either way. But that's what I've got for them.
Man, so this is the okay. So guys, we didn't mention this, but neither one of us know each other's rankings. By the way, we haven't talked about this. We kept it a secret from each other just because we wanted that live reaction. And West Virginia is a little bit higher on mine, but Iowa State is my number 8.
State.
Yep, that is my number 8, and I see them possibly going 5-7. But hear me out, 2-7 in the conference. Their non-cons are Southeast Missouri, at Iowa, and versus the University of Ohio.
You have them beating Iowa.
Listen, that one is more like a hope. I just want to see Iowa State beat Iowa at Iowa, just because I know it's that in-state rivalry, and I
Yeah,
think it'd be great for Iowa State fans to see it.
it
I
would. I
personally
mean,
want to
that
see it.
would be.
I
I'll watch. We will be watching that game for sure.
I want to be able to watch all the big rivalries that are like interstate. Like I want to see it.
Yeah.
But on to conference, I see them taking a fat L against Baylor in their first game. I think they get a dub at Kansas, and then they just go on a crap slide. Kansas State, Texas at Texas, OU, West Virginia, at Oklahoma State, all L's, and I think they blew it up against Tech at home. TCU is a possible game that they could win. Just depends on how TCU is playing this year.
Yeah.
See how Sonny Dykes handles week 13. Got anything
Interesting.
for that one?
Very interesting. No, I'll get to Iowa State when I get to them.
Okay. Fair enough. All
Go
right.
ahead.
So coming in for my number 7, TCU.
Really?
I wanted to see your reaction for that one. That's why I
Really?
paused.
I don't know. All
See,
right,
like
let's
whenever
hear
I'm
it.
here, like 6, 7, 8 is kind of like eh. But man, Colorado at Colorado, Tarleton, and at SMU, which is that's a home game. They're in Dallas. It's a 15-minute drive.
Yeah, but it's also a rivalry. What's it called? The Iron Skillet or something? I think it's called the Iron Skillet Bowl or something like that.
Is that with SMU?
I think it is.
Why haven't they been playing that? Or have they?
Am I wrong?
Anyways, I have 3 dubs there. Me forgetting that that's a rivalry. SMU might have that one.
Yeah, it's called the Iron Skillet Battle. SMU and TCU.
I've heard
Mhm.
of it. I just forgot that it was SMU.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's a
remember this.
rivalry. That's a big rivalry game,
I
and
remember
and
the
TCU just
story.
took SMU's coach.
SMU fans were like frying frog legs in a skillet like during the
Oh, really?
tailgate. That's where that story started. I remember that
Really?
now. Yeah, Austin and his family taught me a lot of stuff that I forgot apparently. But
Yeah.
anyways, on to the rest of their record. I see them going possibly 6-6, 5-7, 4-8, stuff like that. Around 3-6 for the conference. I see versus Oklahoma, L, at Kansas, W, unless Kansas wants to pull off an upset. Versus Oklahoma State, versus Kansas, at West Virginia. I mark those as L's. Like I said, Morgantown's hard to play in. I think that's their biggest advantage for West Virginia. That and if JT Daniels can come out and ball for them. I mean, that's just one of those things.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's going to be. Versus Tech, W, at Texas, L. And then for the Holy War in Waco, L. Like, it's not going to happen this year. This year, we know. We know to run the ball. We
Run
know
the
to
dang
run
ball.
the ball. And then versus Iowa State, I'll let them finish with the W. They might make a bowl game. They might not. Just depends on how Sonny Dykes does.
Yeah. So my number 7 is where I have Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
So going into that just real quick, you already really covered most of it, didn't you?
Yep.
So Southeast Missouri, that's a win. I have them losing to Iowa. If
I
Iowa's
figured.
defense is half as stout as it was last year, I don't think that they have a chance without Brees Hall. And I'll say without Brock Purdy, not that he was ever lighting up the show, but he was all right. A
Especially not
dub
last year.
against Ohio. Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah.
me.
Two years ago, he was not too shabby. A loss against Baylor, a dub against Kansas, lost to K State, lost to Texas. They have a good bye week. I do have their bye week here as week 8. That's a good bye week.
Is that between
And that's
Texas and
important.
OU?
I'm gonna get to that. Yeah, that's a good bye week.
That
So they
could be
go
really good.
even off the bye week. Even off the bye week, I have them coming off the bye, losing to Oklahoma,
Yeah.
a dub against West Virginia, a loss to OK State, a dub against Tech, and then a loss to TCU. That puts my final prediction at a most likely 5-7 with a possible 6-6 if they could find a way to pull off a win against TCU or K State. I
See,
wouldn't
we have
say
the
I
same
see either
overall
one of
record
those.
for
I
them.
think they'll both. Yeah, I think I don't think they'll beat TCU or K State. Speaking of TCU, because I'm gonna go ahead and move up to my next one. At
Mhm.
number 6 is where I have the Horned Frogs. Um, we'll get right into their bye week at number 3. I'm not even gonna talk about week 1 and 2. They'll be 2-0. Their bye week is week 3. That's a terrible bye week.
They got to get
That
ready for that
is,
rivalry, my boy.
yeah, but that's brutal. You've got 10 straight weeks after that. I mean, that 2.5 months straight. So I do have them coming back and beating SMU. So I do think that they're going to start off 3-0. Going into Oklahoma, they'll lose against Oklahoma, they'll beat Kansas, and then they'll lose back-to-back games against K-State or Oklahoma State and K-State, win back-to-back against West Virginia Tech, lose back-to-back against Texas Baylor, and then I think they'll beat Iowa State at the end of the season. That puts them at a 7-5. I think that's a really good season for them. First season under Sonny Dykes, and a possible 8-4 if they can pull up an upset against Texas. There's a lot of them on this one, okay? Because TCU is one of those teams that just somehow pulls off these upsets.
I
If they
feel
can
like a
get
lot of
just
that was
one,
Gary.
well, last year against y'all, yeah, but
No, they
Texas.
didn't have Gary. They
Oh,
had
I'm
a
talking about Gary. I'm talking
A&M.
about Gary
Oh
Bohannon.
yeah.
I thought you were talking about that Gary Patterson, and that
Yeah.
may be, but TCU just has a knack for pulling off upsets. So if 7-5, but if they could beat Texas, Baylor, Oklahoma State, or K State, like I think there's 5 teams that they could win one of. In fact, I'll predict it. They're gonna win one of those games. They're gonna win one. I don't know which one, so I'm changing my prediction. That puts them at an 8-4. It doesn't move them up or down
It puts
because of
them
what I
at
have the
TCU level.
other.
I mean, not
That is
TCU.
TCU.
That's A&M. That's what I meant to say. A&M level.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's
Are
let
they that?
TCU and A&M play in a bowl game. I don't
Are
think
they
that'd work
ready
out
to
good
have
for
that big of a
TCU.
brand?
No, not a chance. They got dual jerseys though. They got TCU's
Yeah.
got some them black and dark purple jerseys.
Dude, those are
They're
clean.
pretty clean.
And then
Yeah.
like the ones with the red on them, even those are kind of dope.
I do like those. Best maybe we should do a best jersey video. I don't know about jerseys per se. Best helmets in the Big 12 is Texas Tech's the Texas flag helmet. They're the best. And I'm a sucker for the solid white with the orange Texas logo, but them Texas flag helmets are dope. Go ahead, give us your number 5.
I'm going number 6.
Oh yeah.
So West Virginia. Just because of their home schedule. They could have so many upsets at home because you got to think most of the team, or I think all of the teams in the Big 12 are going to have to jump a time zone, for one. For two, it's in Morgantown. Morgantown's known for having crazy fans.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like they're going to jump on the field necessarily, but so I have them starting out at Pitt for an L. I don't see them winning that game. Then they have, for some reason, Kansas week 2, dub. Townsend, dub. Virginia Tech, at Virginia Tech, loss. And that us doing the podcast that we just made, talking about Miami at Virginia Tech being a tough game, that makes me know for sure that's an L.
Yeah.
At Texas versus Baylor, back-to-back L's for me. At Tech versus TCU, at Iowa State, I see those as dubs. I mean, I'm sure some of those could get mixed around, like within those past 5 I talked about. I'm really hoping it's not versus Baylor again. I mean, that's one of those ones I told you about even off the podcast. I'm worried about that one because we don't know how JT Daniels is going to do this year. We don't even know how our offense is going to do this year.
I just don't know what the rest of their roster looks like, or even if JT Daniels is kind of good. I really don't. I just don't know what that means for the rest of the team.
I went to school with one of their safeties. I mean, I don't know if he'll see the field, but I graduated with him.
There you go.
But anyways, versus OU versus KSU at Oklahoma State. I see those all as L's. Maybe them beating Kansas State, depending on how much of the hype Kansas State's gonna live up to.
Yeah, it's so just for reference, I have them at number 8 on my list, but at the bottom, I did put that they could do better with a possible win at Tech, or I don't know if it's at Tech, but a possible win against Tech or Iowa
Yeah, it's
State.
at Tech.
So I've got them
At
there.
Tech,
I
at
think that
Iowa
it's
State.
possible that they, right? Oh, okay. I think it's possible that they overperform what I had them on.
Yeah, I think a lot of this year for them definitely rides on JT Daniels.
Mhm.
Who am I forgetting right now? Who else in the Big 12 has transfer quarterbacks that I am forgetting about at the moment?
Um,
Those are a little bit higher up on the list. Never mind. But yeah, there's
well, I mean, Texas Tech's quarterback is a transfer from Oregon. Trying to remember his name. Let me pull up that roster real quick. It's
so
Tyler something like that. He's a transfer from Oregon. So I mean, if he ends up starting, I don't know if he started at Oregon last year, but if he does end up starting on Tech, I mean that could benefit them.
So it's K-State, Oklahoma, West
Oh
Virginia
yeah,
that have transfers, correct? Well, and Texas. But
and
that one really doesn't feel like it because he was a redshirt freshman to me. But we will get
yeah, we
into
don't know
those.
anything about it. True. Quit talking about it. All right, go to your next one. We're number 6. Or is that all of them?
If you're done with number 6, I'm done.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. I didn't realize how that kind of flew by. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
we might have been able to get this into one part, but we're gonna go ahead and continue. We're just gonna break it up into 2 parts. That way we don't have to be rushed through the second half of this because I'm interested. I'm interested to see. I think we got some difference coming up too.
Yeah, I think it could be. I think it could be a
Yeah.
big difference.
I think I don't know. We're gonna find out.
We will see y'all in part 2. We're gonna go ahead and knock that one out and get these posted tomorrow, hopefully. But yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.